We are live.
Where's your technical person? You fired him tonight? You fired him folks?
Here. We're live. I need to turn these things off.
She said all time fire people, that's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, look, I got a notification saying that Faith Baptist Church Lancaster is live now.
We are live. Turn this thing off.
Wait. From Saturday night from New York, live from New York. It's Saturday night.
Not here. It's not. It's Wednesday night live. Sound. Vibrate. Done. All right. We are ready to go. Hopefully. If I can get this thing to load up.
Wherever you went.
Anybody know where we're at?
In a building?
Exodus.
1, 2,
No.
3.
Faith Baptist Church. I know, right? Anybody know where we're at?
In a church.
Leviticus. I know y'all is happy and excited to get into this reading lesson. Leviticus and Numbers. So tonight, we actually are going to start in Leviticus chapter, where's it at? 23. Because that's where it goes. That's our reading plan. Leviticus 23. I don't have my reading plan thing up here. Oh, I got some papers for everybody to give out. So I'm gonna give out some paperwork to everybody.
Paper time.
Take one and pass it down.
She's
got one.
Did you not learn this from preschool?
I know, right?
I mean, I did.
That's debatable.
I gave you one, right, Keith?
Yeah.
All right.
My first name and my
I printed way too many. I was thinking there was a bunch more people going to come tonight. You know, the Lord says, prepare for what you expect. And I prepared. I just didn't get what I expected. All right. So before we get into that, though, let's go ahead and pray and get going. Lord, we come to you this evening, Lord, and we're just thankful that you've allowed us to come together one more time in your house to worship you and to just be together as a family. And thank you for the food that we just had, and just we thank you for all that you do for us and our families and just everything that you do. Lord, we lift up all the ones that were sick or ill or having some problems and issues in their lives, Lord, and we just pray that you just reach down and you touch them, Lord. And Lord, we're missing some people tonight, and for whatever reason that might be, you know, and Lord, I pray for them as well. I pray that our study tonight goes the way that you want it to go, that I listen to you today as we're studying, as you and I were together. Lord, I love the times. I'm really loving the time that you're allowing me to spend with you during the day on Wednesdays. And it's just so refreshing to be able to dig into your word and just spend time with you. Lord, I love you, and I pray that you're with this study tonight, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, Leviticus chapter 23. So last Wednesday, we were going through a big list, right, of things that God was implementing for worship, right? If you remember, and I told y'all to go read all that because God was showing Israel all the stuff, right, that they had to do in order to worship him the way that he deserved to be worshiped, all right? He was setting laws into place for one, to teach them that they had to live by laws because they were slaves, right? And they had never had to live by any laws other than slave laws, right? And so he had to set them into motion as a people unto themselves, all right? Hold on, I'm gonna close these doors. It's gonna get it. Well, what?
You didn't argue.
Huh?
I said he didn't argue.
There we go.
You didn't argue, boss.
What?
I said you didn't argue.
I'm not arguing. This is church. But anyway, he was teaching them the laws to live by as a nation, all right? But also he was teaching them that they were supposed to be different than the people that were around them. He was sending them into a group of people that had their own laws and their own gods and their own little stuff. And he was setting them apart to be totally different, right? They were supposed to be different. But as I finished last week, I also was trying to get us to understand that we really have it really simple when it comes to worshiping God, right? I mean, we don't have to do all the stuff that they had to do in order to worship God, right? The simplicity of worshiping God here right now is we take advantage of it every day. Right? The fact that God actually lives within us. We don't have to go to somebody else. We don't have to go cut up a cow and put it on an altar and ask for forgiveness. We can literally just kneel down and where we are, wherever. We don't have to kneel down. We can be driving down the road, right? And we can say, God, forgive me. You know, I sin. You know, I have things that I do in my life that I'm not real proud of. And God hears those prayers. We don't have to do the things that they had to do. And if you read all that, man, you just look at that and go, oh my goodness, that's crazy. I couldn't live by that, but I can't even live by just being able to just stop and ask God for forgiveness or talk to God, right? But anyway, that was one of the things that I got really deeply out of last week's lesson. And so this week we skip all the way to Leviticus 23 because the people that wrote this reading plan said, Tom's going to be reading it. and there's a whole lot of stuff there that we don't want to read through. So I suggest you read it. It's not that it's not important, okay? But really doesn't make well for public reading. But anyway, okay, so we're going to Leviticus chapter 23, and that's what I printed out here for you guys. We're going to be looking at the feasts of the Lord, and this is something that God implemented, and he did it for a reason. And if you look at this, it's actually looking forward. You might not actually notice it, but it looks forward. He's preparing them for all the stuff that's going to happen to them, that's going to happen to us, and that's going to happen at the end of the age. All right? And that's what all this is, and we're going to kind of read over that here. You guys can look over this as we're reading, kind of get an idea of where everything is. I studied a lot on these feasts today, and if I stayed on that, we wouldn't get all the way through. But it's really interesting to see the days and the dates and the specific times that he implemented to do these things. All right. So the very first thing, it starts here in chapter 23, verse 1. It says, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be a holy convocation. These are my feasts. So he's saying these are all the feasts. These are all the times that I want you to set aside specifically and worship me. Okay. Now, one thing you don't really catch is he's not only doing it for himself to be worshiped, but he's also doing it for the people because they need some rest. I need some rest sometimes, right? It's nice to be able to take a break. And God is saying, during these times, you take a break. Okay? You stop. No work whatsoever. All right? So let's take off here. The first one is the Sabbath. It says, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Okay? Now, back then it was Saturday, but today it's Sunday. All right?
But some people still believe it's Saturday because when I lived in Chattanooga, there was a guy that would not work Saturdays because he.
Well, it is Saturday. The Sabbath is Saturday. We made it Sunday. we just made Sunday the day, but it's really Saturday. Okay? It's always been Saturday. But for whatever reason, we made it Sunday. I don't know. Do you know why?
Yeah, that's the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
Okay. So,
First day of the week.
well, the first day of the week, yeah. Well, you can consider that Sunday. We actually don't know it's Sunday. But, yeah.
So that's why we do the Lord's Day now instead of Sabbath.
Okay. So, see, she taught me something I didn't study. So, Sunday was because that was Jesus rose from the dead. But before, it was Saturday. And it's always really been Saturday. The Sabbath is Saturday. We just celebrate.
7-day.
Seventh-day Adventist?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So,
Sorry, I'm asking questions.
1 day a week, God says, y'all need some rest. Y'all work hard all week, you deserve some rest. And that rest is the Sabbath. Okay? And then verse 4, he says, these are the feasts of the Lord, holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at their appointed time. So now he gets into some other ones here. On the 14th day of the first month at twilight is the Lord's Passover. Why? Right. Passover of the angel of death in Egypt. All right. And on the 15th day, which would be the very next day, right, of the same month, is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. On the first day, you shall have a holy convocation. Another time, right? No work. But you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord for 7 days. The seventh day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. So now you've got 1 day a week, right? The Sabbath. You got to take a rest. It says the very beginning of the year, first month, right? 14th day, you got to take a break. Don't do anything. Just hang out with the fam, right? Okay. And then for 7 days, okay, you make an offering. And then on the seventh day, you don't do nothing. So you rest again. Okay, that's 3 rests that he gives. Well, actually, 1 rest every week. So there's 52 weeks, 52 rests, right? And then he gives us 2 more. Okay, so we're at 54. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land which I give to you and reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. He will wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted on your behalf. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. He can't wave it on the Sabbath because he's resting, right? Okay, so the day after, right? So if you brought it to him on Thursday, he couldn't wave it until Monday or till Sunday. All right? And you shall offer on that day, when you wave the sheaf, a male lamb of the first year without blemish as a burnt offering to the Lord. Its grain offering shall be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering made by fire to the Lord for a sweet aroma. And its drink offering shall be a wine 1/4 of a hin. You shall eat neither bread nor parched grain nor fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. What's he saying? Did you catch anything in that he said? Forever. Right, forever. Okay, so what he's saying is at harvest time, Gary was just talking to Gary on the phone this afternoon, and he was watching them harvest the corn, right? So you take your harvest, you take out the first portion of it, and you take it to the church. You ain't allowed to touch the harvest, the rest of your harvest, until after the offering. Did you catch that? You shall eat neither bread nor parched grain nor fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your God. So you do a harvest today and you dilly-dally. You wait a week. You're not supposed to eat of your harvest until you make the offering. In other words, God's more important than anything else. Make the offering first, no matter what, okay? That's what he's trying to tell them. The offering is the most important. Then we get to the Feast of Weeks. And you shall count for yourself from the day after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be completed. How long is that? 7 weeks. 7 weeks. Count 50 days to the day after the 7th Sabbath. Now how far are we? You got 7 weeks and then 50 days. So that's, 7 weeks and a day. So that's 14 weeks and a day. Now, I don't know because I'm not a harvester, but how long does the harvest last? How long does a harvest last? Does it last about 14 weeks?
Depends on how you're harvesting.
Yeah, depends on what you're harvesting, what you're harvesting with.
Well, I know that the hay and the wheat and stuff like that we do, sometimes you can get 2 cuttings, right? Sometimes even 3. I'm thinking, now this is just me, and I am ignorant about this, okay? But I'm thinking that he's going, okay, you're going to harvest once, right? And you're going to make an offering. And then your next cut, you're going to harvest again, and you're going to make an offering. I'm thinking that's what he's saying. I don't know. Somebody that is a harvester or a farmer can correct that or not. That's just my thought. So maybe y'all can do some study and figure out what that means. Yeah, you only have the one. You only have one with wheat? I didn't know that. See, I didn't know. I don't know. Okay. Maybe you can come back with the grass or straw. I don't know. I don't know why he does this. That was just something that came into my mind because we cut the field back here twice a year. And I'm thinking, well, maybe that's the time limit that it takes for the next growth to happen.
Well, it depends on fertilization of the ground too.
It could depend on a lot of things. So I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
But no, but to be honest though, on the farm part aspect of what you're talking about, if the ground is fertilized, if the ground has good fertilization, then stuff can replenish good. But if you grow stuff in the same field too much, it makes the ground dry.
Right. That's every 7 years you've got to let the
Yeah.
ground lay fertile.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is talking about.
But no, but what I'm saying though is depending on what they were doing, it's
Right.
how good what they're growing is.
Well, this is
That's
good
about
ground.
farm stuff.
We're also talking about the perfect ground because it's where he's taking them, which is the land of milk and honey. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I shouldn't even said anything because I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I'm just throwing out my thoughts. All right. So maybe y'all can study into that a little more. But anyway, it says, count 50 days to the day after the seventh Sabbath. Then you shall offer a new grain offering to the Lord, because he's asking for a new offering. Right. And that's why I thought, well, maybe it's their second cutting of the grain or something. I don't know. Verse 17, you shall bring from your dwellings 2 wave loaves of 2/10 of an ephah. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits to the Lord. And you shall offer with bread 7 lambs of the first year without blemish, 1 young bull and 2 rams. They shall be as a burnt offering to the Lord, with their grain offering and their drink offerings, an offering made by fire for a sweet aroma to the Lord. Then you shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats as a sin offering, 2 male lambs of the first year as a sacrifice of a peace offering. The priest shall wave them with the bread of the firstfruits as a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priests. And you shall proclaim on the same day that it is a holy convocation to you. You shall do no customary work on it. Give them another break. You know, hey, they got their second harvest done. Again, I don't know. Okay. But they got their second harvest done. They brought their offering, right? They did their offering. And God says, now you can take a break, right? Okay. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of your field when you reap, nor shall you gather any gleaning from your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord your God. He sets up, something for poor people to eat, right? Now, why is that portion right there important for you to read? Because later, in another book, book of Ruth, it goes through the whole gleaning thing, right? And so he's setting this up for the book of Ruth later on, all right? Feast of Trumpets is next. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath rest, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it, and you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. When is there another time in the Bible when there's going to be a blowing of trumpets? The rapture. So the first portion is, the first portion of all of this was pre-Jesus. The portion that we had just read just before this, the second harvest, okay, the second harvest, right? When I said that it was a second cutting, a second harvest, that is the time we're living in right now. This is the second harvest, okay? This is after Jesus. And the blowing of the trumpets starts the rapture, okay?
To go back on that, in my Bible, it says the second harvest offering was presented at the end of the Feast of Weeks, 50 days after the Feast of First Fruit. But at this time, wheat was given. So it was 2 different crops.
2 different crops.
Okay, and it was celebration of fulfillment of God's promised harvest he had given, was continuing to provide for them. In the New Testament, we see this feast and its fulfillment of the day of Pentecost. 50 days after Christ's resurrection, the Holy Spirit empowered the disciples to bring in the harvest.
There we go.
All the people who accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior would become the church. So it's 50 days, the big Pentecost after Christ arose.
Rose from the dead. So I'm not too far off. It was two harvests. It was just two harvests. It was a harvest of two different things. Good deal. Good deal. Okay. I think maybe that's why when he talks about, the wheat and the chaff and growing up together, and that's what we're doing right now. We're all growing up with the chaff. We're the wheat. They're the, well, I don't know. Some of us may even still be the chaff. But, it's that second heart. Okay, good deal. I'm not too far. So the trumpets, okay, that's going into the future. This isn't something that he's saying it's going to happen in the future. This is why I want you to do it. Well, he didn't say why I'm going to do it, but he says this is another feast that he wants us to do. And then what comes after the trumpet? For us, the Day of Atonement, right? Okay, guess what's the next feast? The Day of Atonement, the next feast, okay? And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, also the 10th day of this 7th month shall be the Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy convocation for you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. What does afflict mean? What's he saying here? And I'm not asking like I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm asking because I'm not really sure. I was wanting to study it and I forgot. Okay, we don't know. Something, a suffering that you have to do, right? And I'm what you shall afflict your souls. You shall suffer your souls. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't I don't get that.
There are some monks that actually whip themselves, but that's not their soul. That's the body just bringing it under subjection.
Right.
I don't know what.
I'm not really sure about this. Like I said, I read this and I was going, okay, I want to go back to this and study it so I can talk about it, and I didn't do that because later on, because I knew I was like, you know what, we get to Numbers, I'm gonna rush through that anyway, and then once I get down there, I'm like, you know what, I just spent way too much time there and I forgot to study this part. Anyway, you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. And you shall do no work on that same day, for it is the Day of Atonement, to make atonement for you before the Lord your God. For any person who is not afflicted in soul on that same day shall be cut off from his people. See, there's that again. And I'm just kind of like, what? That just doesn't make sense to me. I get.
Here it says, like covering their sins with sacrifices.
So
if they would be covering their sins, making atonement for their sins.
right. I get that part, but I don't get the wording. Maybe it's something different in the King James. Anybody got the King James?
Now, they have that same statement in verse 32, and mine has a note there that says, afflict your soul means humble yourself.
Humble you. That could do. I mean, that could cause suffering to look back and go, look at all the junk I did that I messed up. Maybe that's what that means. Look at, you have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself and say, look, this is what I did. Right. So maybe that's what he's saying here. And they're just using that word. And like I say, maybe this is a New King James word and then King James is a little different. I don't know what that is. Bill would interrupt me and tell me, but he's not here tonight. So anyway, maybe that's what that is. He's saying to look inside yourself and examine yourself. And any person who does any work on that same day, that person I will destroy from among his people. You know what? It sounds like he's serious about this one, right? Because all the other times he says, I don't want you to do any work, Gary. Just relax, right? They ain't got no problem with that. Keith, he's saying relax. Because I know Keith's got a problem with that because he don't like to relax. He likes to work. and he's like, just rest. And this time he says, no, I mean it. You rest, right? Because otherwise I'll take you out. You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict your souls. Look deep inside yourself. I like that. That's good. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you shall celebrate your Sabbath. Good thing there's a little comma there, a little colon and whatever that little mark is, right? Because I could read it. And you shall afflict your souls on the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening. And that would just be bad, right? Good thing there's a pause there, right? Then we get to the Feast of Tabernacles, verse 33. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days to the Lord. Anybody know what that is before we read any further? Feast of Tabernacles. Basically, this is something I would like to do, is to go to Israel, and I would like to go there during the Feast of Tabernacles, because they still do this from what I read and from what I've seen. They still do this. They set up booths. They go out from their house, and they set up these little tents, and they stay in them for 7 days. And they do this because that's what they lived in. That's how they did when they left Egypt. They didn't have a house. And so they would set up a little booth or a little tent, okay? And that's what this is. Shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days to the Lord. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. For 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall have a holy convocation, and you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. It is a sacred assembly, and you shall do no customary work on it. These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering and a grain offering, a sacrifice and drink offering, everything on its day. Besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, besides your gifts, besides all your vows, and besides all your free will offerings which you give to the Lord. Did you catch that? He says, these are the feasts. These are all the times I'm requiring you to make an offering. These are all the times that I'm requiring you to worship me on these specific days. And then verse 38 there says, but you don't have to only do it then. You don't have to only do it then, right? He says, you can give, you can have other Sabbaths, right? You can have more rest. You can have more worship time with me. You can give me more gifts. You can give me, more vows, right? You can make more vows with me. You can offer more free will offerings. It's all good. But just because you gave this time, okay, man, I'm gonna give God Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I'm not gonna give him Sunday. I'm gonna work on Sunday. And he goes, no, it's all good that you give me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but you also got to give me Sunday. One way or the other, I get Sunday. He's saying you can do more, but you can't do less. Okay, that's what he says here. Also, on the 15th day of the month, of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep the feast of the Lord for 7 days. On the first day there shall be a Sabbath rest, and on the 8th day a Sabbath rest. And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of beautiful trees, branches of palm trees, and boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall keep it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths for 7 days. All who are native Israelites shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses declared to the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord. So we got all the feasts out of the way, right? God says these are the times when you're supposed to worship to me, but you can worship more. You don't have, this ain't the only time you can worship me. You can worship all you want. These are the times that I require. Okay? And then God says, because we're going to skip to 26, okay? Chapter 26. God says, hey, if you do all this stuff, if you do everything that I'm telling you to do, he gives them a whole bunch of other laws that we don't read and we don't go through. You can read them later. He gives them a whole lot of stuff, okay? Then he says, if you do all this stuff, here's what's going to happen. All right? Chapter 26, verse 1. You shall not make idols for yourself, neither a carved image nor a sacred pillar shall you rear up for yourselves, nor shall you set up an engraved stone in your land to bow down to it, for I am the Lord your God. There you go. That was the last one, man. He goes, all this other stuff, don't set up any idols. No idols, okay? Verse 2. You shall keep my Sabbaths. What was the Sabbath? We just read over them, right? That's why it skips to this point, okay? It says, you shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season. The land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last till the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last till the time of sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none will make you afraid. I will rid the land of evil beasts, and the sword will not go through your land. You will chase your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. 5 of you shall chase 100. 5 of us, Gary. Just 5 of us. We can chase 100. I know, right? And 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. Just send Paula down. She can take care of it, right? Your enemies shall fall by the sword. In other words, he says, when I'm by your side, you don't need nothing. I got you, right? I got you. 5 people can walk out on the front lawn, and 100 people will run away, right? For I will look on you favorably and make you fruitful, multiply you, and confirm my covenant with you. People, you ever heard that God made promises to us? These are promises that God made, okay? These are promises that if we follow his statutes, if we follow his commands, he'll always take care of us. He'll always give us a harvest when we need it. Right? He'll always give us rain when we need it. He'll always grow our gardens. He'll always give us the food that we need. He'll always take care of us. And if we get into any trouble, he's there to back us up. Right? This is a promise that God made. It's in black and white. We just read it. Right? God's promises are true. No matter who we are, no matter where we are, those promises are true. Okay? Says, you shall eat the old harvest and clear out the old because of the new. In other words, don't save any. Yeah? You guys will eat up. You know, a lot of times when you open the cupboard and you take out the last can of Pringles, right? And you eat them really slow because they're like, man, this is the last can of Pringles. I know, right? You're like, man, this is the last. And you get down to that very last chip, man, you're like, oh, man, you put it back in there, you put the cap on it, you set it back up on the shelf, and your wife goes, why'd you put that up there? There's only 1 chip in it. Because there's only 1 chip in it, right?
Thanks for the idea.
I know, right? There's only 1 chip. I want one tomorrow. God says, eat the last chip, because tomorrow when you go to the cabinet, there'll be a whole nother box. There'll be a whole nother can of chips. It'll be there. Trust him. It's a promise that he made.
What would be the other flavor then?
Who knows? Whatever you like, I guess. It says, eat the whole harvest. Eat it all, right? Clear it out because the new's on its way. All right? I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. I will walk among you and be your God, and you shall be my people. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, that you should not be their slaves. I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you walk upright. Then we get to some more promises. And these aren't the promises you want to hear, but there are other promises. If you want the good promises, right? I want that can of Pringles to be there tomorrow, right? You want that promise, you got to take these promises, all right? But if you do not obey me and do not observe all these commandments, and if you despise my statutes, or if your soul abhors my judgment, anybody ever said, Lord, why in the world did you do that to me? If you abhor my judgments, all right, so that you do not perform all my commandments, but break my covenant, I also will do this to you. I will even appoint terror over you, wasting disease and fever, which shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. I will set my face against you, and you shall be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you. Wait a minute. If I follow God, I only need 5 people to run off 100. But if I don't follow God, nobody is there, and I'm going to run. You see how he says that? Okay.
Where are you going to run to?
I know, right? Where are you going to run to? Good one, Gary. Gary's learning. Good, man. And after all this, listen, if you do not obey me, I will punish you, what? 7 times more for your sin. I will break the pride of your power. I will make your heavens like iron and your earth like bronze, and your strength shall be spent in vain. For your land shall not yield its produce, nor shall the trees of the land yield their fruit. Then if you walk contrary to me and are not willing to obey me, I will bring on you what? 7 times more plagues according to your sins. He's serious, right? I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children. That's when the wild animals come in and take your kids away. Eat them, right? Yeah. You got a couple things? Destroy your livestock and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. And if by these things you are not reformed by me, but walk contrary to me, I'm telling you, he does all that, I think I'll be reformed, right? But he says, if that don't shut you up, okay, if that don't turn you around, that's kind of where we're at today. If that don't turn you around, everybody goes, well, you know, it is what it is, right? Then I also will walk contrary to you, and I will punish you yet 7 times for your sin. And I will bring a sword against you that will execute the vengeance of the covenant. When you are gathered together within your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. Then when I have cut off your supply of bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven. And they shall bring back your bread by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied. Now, before, one woman could probably make 10 loaves of bread for her hubby, right? In one oven. But now you got 10 families baking bread for 10 families in one oven, which means you ain't going to get very much bread. You get it? And after all this, if you do not obey me, but walk contrary to me, keeps going, gets worse, right? Then I will also walk contrary to you in fury. And I, even I, will chastise you 7 times for your sins. You shall eat the flesh of your sons, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters. I will destroy your high places, cut down your incense altars, and cast your carcasses on the lifeless forms of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you. I will lay your cities to waste and bring your sanctuaries to desolation, and I will not smell the fragrance of your sweet aromas. I will bring the land to desolation, and your enemies who dwell in it shall be astonished at it. I will scatter you among the nations and draw out a sword after you. Your land shall be desolate and your cities waste. Then the land shall enjoy its Sabbath as long as it lies desolate and you are in your enemy's hand. Then the land shall rest and enjoy its Sabbath. As long as it lies desolate, it shall rest, for the time it did not rest on your Sabbath when you dwelt in it. And as for those of you who are left, I will send faintness into their hearts, into the land of their enemies. The sound of a shaken leaf shall cause them to flee. A shaken leaf blowing outside. Enemies are going to flee, right? They shall flee as though fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when no one pursues. They shall stumble over one another as it were before a sword when no one pursues, and you shall have no power to stand before your enemy. You see, I don't know about y'all. I used to watch a lot of horror movies, right? Scary movies. And when the guy comes out with the chainsaw, right, what's all the kids do? They stumble over each other trying to get away, right? Yeah, well, they're stumbling to get away from nothing because they're turned away from God, okay? You shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And those of you who are left shall waste away in their iniquities in your enemies' lands. Also in their fathers' iniquities which are with them, they shall waste away. But if they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their unfaithfulness in which they were unfaithful to me, and that they also have walked contrary to me, and that I also have walked contrary to them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, if their uncircumcised hearts are humbled, and they accept their guilt, that's important, accepting your guilt, right? Then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. The land also shall be left empty by them, and will enjoy its Sabbath while it lies desolate without them. They will accept their guilt because they despise my judgments and because their soul abhors my statutes. What I'm reading here is, sometimes it gets a little gory, right? You're going to eat your daughters and eat your sons, and you're going to a lot of suffering, right? A lot of suffering. And people go, well, why would the Lord do that? Because he told you he would. Well, the Lord, he can't be bad like that. That's bad. That's horrible. No, what's horrible is serving a God that warns us this is going to happen and then doesn't let it happen. That's what's horrible. I mean, when you got a bad kid, right? And you say, I'm going to spank you over and over, and you never spank them, right?
Oh, yeah.
They just keep getting worse, right? But then they go, well, they just say that. God says, look, if you do this, this is going to happen. He warns us. He warns us. This is what's going to happen if you do this. Why does God allow these things to happen? Why does God allow these things to happen in his world? Because he warns us this is what's going to happen. I wouldn't want to serve a God that would not be just, right? I wouldn't want to do that. God is just. He says this will happen, and that's what's going to happen. Okay? It's a promise, another promise. Okay? Yet for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor shall I abhor them to utterly destroy them and break my covenant with them, for I am the Lord their God. But for their sake, I will remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses. Again, this was what he said. I want you to do these feasts. Okay? I want you to worship me like this. And then he gave him all the laws. And then he goes, if you do this, remember what did they say when they were on the mountain, right? When Moses came down off the mountain, he says, the Lord says, if you keep this covenant, right, I'll be your God. And they all went, we'll keep it, right? We'll keep whatever in fact, their exact words were, whatever you say, we'll do. Exact words, okay? Whatever you say, we'll do. And so the Lord goes, okay, here's what I'm going to say. And he gave them all these laws, right? And then he goes, you know what? If you do it, man, life's going to be great. It's going to be you don't have to worry about nothing. You don't have to worry about wars or food or anything. I got your back. But if you don't, why? Why did he say because if you don't? Because they said, we'll do it, whatever it is, right? And so he goes, but if you don't, this is what's going to happen. Okay? Now we go to Numbers. Numbers chapter 11. Here's where it gets fun, guys. Numbers chapter 11.
He said it's fun and scary.
You just been talking about all kinds of scary stuff. Numbers chapter 11. All right. Anybody want to read the first 5 words? The first 5 words of chapter 11. If you do this, I'll take care of you. But if you don't, right? Now when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, for the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused. You want to complain about stuff that God's got you doing or God's wanting you to do? Guess what? He hears it. He hears when you complain, okay? He never said you can't complain. He says he hears it when you do, okay? So the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some in the outskirts of the camp. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen, right? They complained. Then the people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. So he called the name of the place Taberah, whatever, because the fire of the Lord had burned among them. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. Anybody ever have intense craving? Pringles potato chips, right? Salmon patties. These guys were wanting some salmon patties. Okay?
And nobody's going to fix them for us.
I know, right? So the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us meat to eat? Who's going to do it? We remember the fish, which we ate freely in Egypt, the salmon patties, right? They had them all over in Egypt. We had all kinds of them, right? The cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There's nothing at all except this manna before our eyes. Now, the manna was like coriander seed. Anybody know what a coriander seed looks like? It's just a little tiny seed, okay? Just a little seed. And its color like the color of bdellium. Anybody know what bdellium color is? I looked it up, and I was like, ooh, I probably wouldn't want to eat that. We think of manna as this white substance on the ground, but it's not. Bdellium is almost like in fact, some of it looked kind of like manure. It looked horrible. But that's what it says. I don't know. Maybe Google got it wrong. I don't know. But that's what I looked up. It really didn't look good at all. But it says it was like coriander seed, and its color, the color of bdellium.
I agree, it does not look good.
Right? Okay. The people went about and gathered it, ground it on millstones, or beat it in the mortar, cooked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And its taste was like the taste of pastry prepared with oil. And when the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna fell on it. Then Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, everyone at the door of his tent, and the anger of the Lord was greatly aroused. Moses also was displeased. So Moses said to the Lord, why have you afflicted your servant? And why have I not found favor in your sight? Remember, the people were complaining? Now Moses is complaining. Okay, he's complaining to God. Why have you afflicted your servant? And why have I not found favor in your sight, that you have laid the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I beget them? That you should say to me, carry them in your bosom as a guardian carries a nursing child to the land which you... He's like, I'm not their daddy. I'm not their mommy. But they act like, what did I do to deserve this? Right? Is what he's asking God. Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they weep all over me, saying, give us meat that we may eat. I am not able to bear all these people alone, because the burden is too heavy for me. If you treat me like this, please kill me here and now. If I have found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my wretchedness. I am not these people's daddy. If I gotta do this forever, just take me home. Have you ever said something like that? Lord, if I got to keep dealing with this, just take me home, man. I am so tired of this, right? And this is Moses. He was feeling pretty down on it. He's like, dude, I am not these people's daddy. I don't want to do this anymore. Just take me home. Get somebody else to do it. That's what he's saying, okay? If I have found favor in your sight, if all's good with you, take me home, Lord, right? So the Lord said to Moses, I ain't taking you home. Gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people, and officers over them. Bring them to the tabernacle of meeting, that they may stand there with you. Then I will come down and talk with you there. I will take the spirit that is upon you, and will put the same upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you may not bear it yourself alone. When we feel like that, we're in a dead end, right? We can't deal with it anymore. We ask God, Lord, I can't do this anymore. He's faithful to give us somebody to help us. Sue Ann, right? He's faithful to give somebody to us to help us deal with the burdens that we deal with every day. All right? Make your statement known. Now, with Moses, he just wanted to go home. He was tired. He was tired dealing with it. You could pray, Lord, take me home. And he goes, no, I'm going to make you deal with it, but I'm going to give you somebody to help. Right? Then you shall say to the people, consecrate yourself for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat. This is funny. For you have wept in the hearing of the Lord, saying, who will give us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. The Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. Hold on. Watch this. You shall eat not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you. Because you have despised the Lord who is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why did we ever come up out of Egypt? Watch this. And Moses said, the people who I am among are 600,000 men on foot. Yet you have said, I will give them meat that they may eat for a whole month. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them to provide enough for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to provide enough for them? Moses is like, you want me to go tell them what? Because where are you going to get all this meat? I don't know where I'm going to get it all, right? He's like, where's it all coming from? And the Lord said to Moses, that's pretty much what he said, right? He says, has the Lord's arm been shortened? You know, Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? I can't touch it. Now you shall see whether what I say will happen to you or not. So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord. He's like, all right, Lord, I'll go tell them. No idea where all this meat's coming from, but I'll go tell them, okay, just because you said so, okay? So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord. And he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and placed them around the tabernacle. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him and took of the spirit that was upon him and placed the same upon these 70 elders. Now, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking the spirit that was upon Moses at that specific time was not a very happy spirit, right? I mean, he'd given up. And the Lord goes, I'm going to take some of that. I'm going to give it to these guys over here. So they're not going to be happy either. They're going to have 70 grumpy old men, right? Okay. And it happened when the Spirit rested upon them that they prophesied, although they never did so again. Wow. Whole bunch of old men prophesying together. All prophesying. Now, they never did it again, but they're all together and they're all prophesying, right? Watch this. But 2 men had remained in the camp. 2 of the men that Moses picked. He picked 70. Only 68 showed up. All right? Only 68 showed up. There was 2 men that stayed back. They were like, yeah, Moses, I ain't going to the camp. I'm not going up there. I don't want to talk to God. Okay? They were mad because they didn't have any meat to eat. All right? They're like, yeah, we're not going. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. Probably brothers. I don't know. Maybe. And the Spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone out to the tabernacle. Yet they prophesied in the camp. And a young man ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Okay, so they're all sitting around in town, right? And you got these 2 old men. They're probably bad-mouthing Moses and bad-mouthing the 68 guys who went to the tabernacle, right? And they're probably all just up. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boop, right? And they just start prophesying. What they were prophesying, I don't know, but they just start spouting off godly things, right? And everybody's sitting around going, what in the world is wrong with you? Right? It was enough that one kid jumps up and goes, I'm going to go tell Moses because this is not right. And so he runs out, right? And he tells Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Now, little did he know, as soon as he ran into Moses and the 68 other guys, they're all sitting around having a prophesying party. So he runs from the pan into the fire, right? So Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, one of his choice men, answered and said, Moses, my Lord, forbid them. In other words, he said, those guys weren't good enough to come up here with us. Tell them to stop, right? Tell them to stop. Then Moses said to him, are you zealous for my sake? Well, are you trying to help me out, right? You don't need to help me out, right? Oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets. Oh, that all the Lord's people were close enough to God that they could also prophesy. And that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them. People, we're them. God has placed his Spirit upon us. Now, whether you believe in prophesying or not, or whatever it might be, God's Spirit is within us. Okay? We have God's Spirit in us. Okay? We have this, what Moses is saying. He said, oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets. And that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them. And Moses returned to the camp, he and the elders of Israel. So the prophesying party's done. And we move into 31 here. Now a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quail from the sea, and left them fluttering near the camp, about a day's journey on this side, and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and about 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. How big's a quail, Gary? About a hand size? Okay. A day's walk all around the entire camp. 2 cubits, okay? 2 cubits high. Yeah. About that high of quail. And they're only this big. That's a lot of meat. Where am I going to get all this meat? Are you going to say, where's it all going to come from? Right? Now get this. And the people stayed up. Man, we're selfish, ain't we? We are selfish people. And the people stayed up all that day, all night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. How much quail can you eat and be full? Maybe 2, 3, 4? But yet they stayed up and gathered all day. Now, this wasn't just gather. You know, you go out quail hunting or go out hunting, you know, you go out and you shoot maybe 5 or 6, maybe 10, maybe if you're lucky, right? I know, right? It wasn't like that. They didn't come back with a sack full after 2 days of hunting, right? No. For 2 days. Sacks and sacks and sacks and sacks of quail. That's a lot of quail to gather. 2 days. All day, all night, and all day again. Doing nothing. They didn't sleep. They gathered quail. Okay. Man, we're some selfish, stingy people, ain't we? Man.
What, sleep now? Don't want to work on it?
I know, right? He who gathered least gathered 10 homers. I don't know what a homer is, but he gathered 10 of them. That was the guy who gathered the least. What is it? A half bushel. So 5 bushels was the least. I don't know about y'all, but I couldn't eat 5 bushels of quail in one sitting, right? I mean, they didn't have refrigerators. They didn't have freezers. You know, we could gather 5 bushels of quail, right? And we could stick them in the freezer and have them for a year. They didn't have that back then, okay? They had to know that it would rot, okay? 475 pounds of quail. The one who gathered the least, okay? And they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. Whoo, look at my tape. Right? Look at all the quail I took. Spread them all out. Laid them all out. They're proud of themselves. Look at all this meat we got. I know, right? Just like Halloween candy. They went trick-or-treating and they made out like bandits.
Were they trying to dry it or something?
I don't know. I think they were proud.
Yeah, they had to make
jerky or something. I don't know. They spread them out for themselves all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was aroused against the people, and the Lord struck the people with a very great plague. They got sick. They got sick on the meat. Made them sick. So he called the name of that place Kibroth, whatever, because there they buried the people who yielded to the craving. From Kibroth Hattava, the people moved to Hazeroth and camped at Hazeroth. Why did they go to Hazeroth? Because they were living on a gravestone. They were living in a graveyard, right? They were living in a graveyard. And so the Lord says, "We can't have that." all y'all people that were stingy, right? Y'all died. And they had to bury them all. So they had to move them. They had to move. Okay, time to move out. Okay. So, okay. Chapter 12. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. What did he marry? An Ethiopian woman. So they said, "Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses?" Yeah, I think so, right? "Has he not spoken through us also?" I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that every time that he spoke through them, he spoke through Moses. Moses told them what to say, and then they spoke, right? Okay. "Has he not spoken through us also?" And the Lord heard it. Every time you complain, the Lord hears it. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly, the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, "Come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting." Hey, hasn't Lord spoke through us too? As they're saying this, the Lord goes, "Psst." Right? "Psst, you. Come on out to the church. We're going to have a meeting." Right? If I was Miriam and I was Aaron, I'd probably say, "I think I'll be like Ebad and Mebad, and I think I'm going to stay back in the city because I don't want to go out to the church." But they were proud of themselves. They had pride, right? So they do it. So the three came out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. So as they're getting close to the tabernacle, the Lord comes down and he stands in front of the door. He goes, "You ain't coming in here. None of this." And as they get a little closer, he says, "Aaron, Miriam, come on over here for a minute." They about to get spanked. Right? And they both went forward. Then he said, "Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly and not in dark sayings." He don't beat around the bush, right? In other words, he talked to Aaron and Miriam during dreams or during visions or during whatever, right? And they had to kind of interpret it. Okay, they kind of had to. He didn't give him a dream and say, "Okay, Miriam, okay, Aaron, right? we are going to pick up and we're going to move over here, and then we're going to sit down, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to worship this way. That's not what he did. He'd give them a vision maybe of maybe a sunrise and maybe a cow moving across the ground or whatever, right? He'd give them a vision of something, and they would have to interpret this. But he says, not so with Moses. When Moses and me talk, I say, Moses, this is what we're going to do. And we talk about it, okay? Even plainly and not in dark sayings. It's not clouded, okay? And he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and there she was, a leper. Whoa! What in the world, right? So Aaron said to Moses, oh, my Lord, please do not lay this sin on us, in which we have done foolishly, in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be as one dead, whose flesh is half consumed when he comes out of his mother's womb. So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, please heal her, O God, I pray. Then the Lord said to Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterwards she may be received again. God just made Miriam sit in the corner. See it? He just said, no, no. If her daddy would have spit in her face, she would have been shamed for at least 7 days, right? So you got to take her outside the camp. She's got to sit in the corner with her nose in this little circle, right? Okay. So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward, the people moved from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving the children of Israel. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, each one a leader among them. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran according to the command of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. Now these were their names. From the tribe of Reuben, Shammua the son of Zachor. From the tribe of Simon, Shaphat the son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Ishkar, Ilgal the son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hosea the son of Nun. Joshua. This is Joshua. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into that. I ain't got time. From the tribe of Benjamin, Paltai, the son of Raphu. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gildad, the son of Sodi. From the tribe of Joseph, that is the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai, the son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, Emil, the son of Gamaliel. From the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Nabai, the son of from the tribe of Gad, Guel, the son of Micah. Micah. I don't know. Whole bunch of kids that I don't know their names. Okay? I can't pronounce their names. The two that are important, okay, are Hosea, the son of Nun, which is Joshua. Okay? That was from the tribe of Ephraim. All right? Out of Ephraim and Manasseh, which one did Jacob bless? Ephraim and Manasseh. Which one did he bless? He blessed Ephraim. Okay. Ephraim was Joshua. Okay. And then if we go back up, you've got the tribe of Judah, right? Which Caleb is the tribe of Judah, which had the bigger blessing as well. Okay. If you go back and look at the blessings, look at Judah's blessing, look at Ephraim's blessing. These are important because these two men are extremely, extremely important from now on. Okay. Caleb and Joshua. All right. These are the names of men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hosea, the son of Nun, Joshua. Then Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, go up this way into the south and go up into the mountains and see what the land is like, whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, few or many, whether the land they dwell in is good or bad, whether the cities they inhabit are like camps or strongholds, whether the land is rich or poor, whether there are forests there or not. Be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. So he wants some good grapes, right? I want to see what kind of food they had, right? So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob, near the entrance of Hamath. And they went through the south and came to Hebron. Anan, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. Anybody know who Anak was? The giants. David and Goliath. Okay. Now they came to the valley of Eshcol and there cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes. Remember, these are giants, right? Giants. He wasn't kidding when they said there were giants in the land. All right. There cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes. They carried it between two of them on a pole. Have you ever went to the store and got a cluster of grapes? Right? Have you ever went to the store and got a cluster of grapes that you and your wife had to carry out on a pole?
I think I got them on toothpick.
I know, right? These are giants with big, these grapes are probably this big, man. I'm telling you, that one cluster had to be carried on a pole between two big men. Okay? They also brought some of the pomegranates and figs. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol, or the Valley of Grapes. Okay? Because of the cluster which the men of Israel cut down there. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of Israel, the children of Israel, in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation, showed them the fruit of the land. Check out these grapes, man. These things are huge and they are really good, right? One grape could feed the whole family. Then they told them and said, we went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Check out how big it is, right? Nevertheless, never good when they say that, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there, the giants, okay? The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses. He's like, hey guys, shut up. Okay? Caleb was what? The tribe of Judah. Judah, the tribe of the lion. Right? Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. He's like, we can take them. We got them. Man, don't worry about it. We're going. Okay? Meet here at noon. We're on our way. But the men who had gone up with him said, we're not able to go up against the people, for they're stronger than we are. Yeah, they're like, I don't think so, Caleb. We ain't going, right? And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land, which they spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. There we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak came from the giants. And we were like grasshoppers in our own sight. And so we were in their sight. It's like, we go over there, they're going to devour us. Step on us like little grasshoppers. We can't go over there, right? Israel refuses to enter Canaan, comes to chapter 14. So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword? I want you to remember one thing as we carry on. I'm going to try to push through this. If y'all want to leave, tell me. Do you want to leave or you want to finish? We going all the way? I don't know. Whatever the last one is. It's not that much more. We're getting close. All right. I want you to remember this, okay? The whole congregation said to them, what'd they say? Somebody read it. Okay. This is their words, right? This is what they said. Okay? If only we had died in Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Okay? Why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said to one another, let us select a leader and return to Egypt. We're going to get somebody to take us back because these guys are taking us to our death. Right? So we're going back to Egypt. Okay? Then Moses and Aaron, now what they didn't know is if they went back to Egypt, they'd be dead anyway. Right? Because Pharaoh would have wiped them out anyway as soon as they walked into Egypt. But anyway, let's keep going. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us to the land and give it to us, give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Now the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the meeting before all the children of Israel. Look, guys, we're going. We said we could go. God's going with us. We got it, right? And they're all like, shut up, right? They're getting ready to stone them. And the Lord comes down. Whoa. Okay, right? Okay, we're not going to stone you right yet. Then the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? And how long will they not believe me with all the signs which I have performed among them? I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them. And I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. Y'all remember he said that once before, right? When he's up on the mountain, right? He said, I'm going to wipe all them people out. Moses says, don't do that. Hold on, right? And he goes, but I'm going to make you a great nation. And he went, no. It'll be all right, right? He said he's doing it again. And Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear it, for by your might you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. They have heard that you, Lord, are among these people, that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill these people as one man, then the nations which have heard of your fame will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, therefore he killed them in the wilderness. Well, can't really get, hey, I can't really get you into the land that I told you I was going to get you into. So I'm just going to take you out right here. Right? That's what he was said. That's what he says here. And now I pray, let the power of my Lord be great, just as you have spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but he by no means clears the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. Pardon the iniquity of these people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt until now. Forgive the people, right? Okay. Forgive the people. So Moses stands up for him again. Then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word. Give him a break. I'm going to pardon him, okay? But truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all these men who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness and have put me to the test now these 10 times have not heeded my voice, they certainly shall not see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who rejected me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley. Tomorrow turn and move out into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation who complain against me? I have heard the complaints which the children of Israel make against me. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, just as you have spoken in my hearing, so I will do to you. The carcasses of you who have complained against me shall fall in this wilderness. All of you who were numbered, according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun, you shall by no means enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. But your little ones, whom you said would be victims, the ones that you said would die, right, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. But as for you, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness. Man, do not complain against God with something you ain't ready to take on. Right? Right? And your sons shall be shepherds in the wilderness 40 years and bear the brunt of your infidelity until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. According to the number of days in which you spied out the land, 40 days. For each day you shall bear your guilt 1 year, namely 40 years. And you shall know my rejection. I, the Lord, have spoken this. I will surely do so to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Now the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report of the land, those very men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague before the Lord. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive, of the men who went to spy out the land. So he's like, okay, boom, right? 10 of the 12 are gone. He didn't kill the whole tribe. He just killed 10 of them, right? They died. 2 of them left. And still the whole congregation of Israel is left. Then Moses told these words to the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. If only we could die in Egypt. If only we could just die in the wilderness. And God says, gotcha. That's what you asked for. That's what you get. Right? You're going to die in the wilderness. And they go, we're not going to die in the wilderness, are we? Really? Are you really going to let us die in the wilderness just because I said I would like to? Yep. That's what it's going to be, right? And they rose early in the morning, went up to the top of the mountain saying, here we are, we'll go into the place. Let's go. We're going. We're ready to go now. We got our spears. We're going to go take them giants. Here we are, and we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, I don't think so. Now, why do you transgress the command of the Lord? For this will not succeed. It's not going to happen, right? Do not go up, lest you be defeated by your enemies, for the Lord is not among you. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword because you have turned away from the Lord. The Lord will not be with you. I don't care. We're going. You don't know what you're talking about. God's going to, he told us, and we're going, right? But they presume to go up to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses departed from the camp. Moses sits down. He's like, well, I'm going to watch the fireworks. Right? He sits down. He goes, okay, you guys go. We're staying down here. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelled in the mountain came down and attacked them and drove them back as far as Harbon. So as they're coming back, right, Moses is eating his Pringles, right? And he's like, told ya. So here they come, running back with their tail between your legs, okay? This is the last one, the last chapter, right? 16:1 to 17:13. Actually, 1.5 chapters. Now, Korah, the son of, did we skip down? Did we skip something here? So we're going to Numbers chapter 16. I don't know if that's skipping something or not. I didn't write it. Okay, so we're going to 16. So they've already had this problem, okay, of the people not wanting to go. So now they're getting ready to have another little problem. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, Abiram, the son of Elab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. Alrighty, that's not good. And they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel. 250 leaders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, you take too much upon yourselves. For all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord? We're the sons of Levi. We're the priests. We're the preachers. We should have the same thing that you guys do. We're all holy, right? So when Moses heard it, he fell on his face and he spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, tomorrow morning, the Lord will show you who is his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him, that one whom he chooses. He will cause him to come near. He's like, okay, guys, God's going to pick the holy one. So y'all come up here, right? Come on up here later. We're going to do this. He says, do this. Take censers, Korah and all your company. Put fire in them, put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord chooses is the Holy One. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi. He goes, y'all thinking too much of yourselves. Okay? That's what he says. Then Moses said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Levi. Is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to serve them, and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brethren, the sons of Levi with you? I want you to notice there's a question mark there. He's saying, are you speaking for all of your tribe? Okay, is this really who you are? Is this really what you want to do? Okay. He says, are you seeking the priesthood also? Do you want to be a preacher too? Right? Therefore, you and all your company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that you complain against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Elab, but they said, we will not come up. Come on up here, we'll do this. No, I don't think so. We're not going. we saw what happened to Miriam and Aaron. We don't want no part of that, right? Is it a small thing that you've brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? They got mad. They're like, you're just going to let us go out and get killed in the wilderness? Why? Okay? That you should keep acting like prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into the land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance or fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? Will not come up. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. Then Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt one of them. And Moses said to Korah, tomorrow you and all your company be present before the Lord, you and they as well as Aaron. Let each take his censer and put incense in it, and each of you bring his censer before the Lord, 250 censers, both you and Aaron, each with his censer. So every man took his censer, put fire in it, laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation, and the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, hey, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in one moment. Right? Okay. Then they fell on their faces and said, oh God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin and you be angry with all the congregation? So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the congregation, saying, get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. He goes, okay, look, guys, I understand that not everybody's against this. It's those three that are the instigators, right? So I want, instead of you just stepping away and me taking all them out, he says, how about this? Tell everybody else to separate themselves from those three instigators. Get away from them, right? Anybody ever told you you're hanging out with the wrong crowd? Right? God's saying, y'all hanging out with the wrong crowd. Step away from it, right? Then Moses rose and went to Dathan, Abram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, depart now from the tents of these wicked men. Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they got away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abram. And Dathan and Abram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little children. And Moses said, by this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. If these men die naturally, like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. If they just drop dead, then, Lord didn't send me, okay? If they just fall over dead, whatever, if they die of old age, then I'm not the man of God, okay? But if the Lord creates a new thing, something that ain't never happened before, if he creates a new thing, something you've never seen, okay, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belong to them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord. Yeah. Okay, where do we go? I miss. Huh?
Verse 31.
31. There we go. Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all the men of Korah with all their goods. So they and all those who were with them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed over top of them, and they perished among the assembly. So the earth opens, they all fall in, and it closes back over top of them. That's a sight to see. Okay? Then all Israel who were around them fled at the cry, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. I would be running for goodness, right? And a fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Tell Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the censers out of the blaze, for they are holy, and scatter the fire some distance away. The censers of these men who sinned against their own souls, let them be made into hammered plates as a covering for the altar, because they presented them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign to the children of Israel." So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers which those who were burned up had presented, and they were hammered out as a covering on the altar, to be a memorial to the children of Israel, that no outsider who is not a descendant of Aaron should come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he might not become like Korah and his companions, just as the Lord had said to him through Moses. Hey, all them dead people out there that are still smoking, go out and get their censers. The ones that are probably still a little warm, and bring them back over here. Take a man to do that. Okay, you want me to go in there where all that scorched area is and get those censers? Yep, okay. So they did it. I mean, this is just things I see in my head. Anyway. Now it happened when the congregation had gathered again against Moses and Aaron, that they turned towards the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment." And they fell on their faces. So Moses said to Aaron, "Take a censer and put fire in it from the altar, put incense in it, and take it quickly to the congregation and make atonement for them, for wrath has gone out from the Lord." Then Aaron took it as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the assembly, and already the plague had begun among the people. So he put in the incense and made atonement for the people, and he stood between the dead and the living, so the plague was stopped. I don't know, I could see it, Aaron, right? He gets his censer and he's like putting it in, and the plague, y'all watch The Walking Dead or any of the, like the zombie shows or anything like that. You could see the plague coming. You've got all these people, and you could see the plague. You could see it probably like a dark fog, maybe. I don't know. And Aaron is putting his stuff in the censer, shaking it up, and he's running to town, right? He's running to stop it, because Moses says you get there and you can stop it with this censer because it's holy and it'll stop the plague. And so he's running out. "I got you," right? "I got you. I got your back. I'm coming." And as he gets into the middle of all these people, half of them are dying. They're just falling dead. And he's standing. I want to be on this side of Aaron, right? Right. That's what I said. I want to be on this side, because he's holding this censer out and he's stopping the death. This had to be a movie. This could have been a really good movie. I mean, because he's standing there and he's holding the censer, and the darkness begins to come, and he goes, "Whoa, stop. Whoa, stop. He's running back and forth, standing between the plague and between the people living. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the Korah incident. Yeah, they just kind of throw that one in there. Besides this one here, that the ground opened up and swallowed them and then torched them all. Now, see, so Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, for the plague had stopped. And then we're going to stop right there. The rest of that, chapter 17, is the people were wanting to be like Aaron, be priests. And so they bring all these rods together, and one of them buds and one of them don't. And you can read it. I'll stop there, though. I'll save you of that. Yeah. Any questions? I know I took up way too much time tonight. I just wanted to push through that one. I don't know. I got into that. I got into reading that, and I'm going, dude, this is crazy. This is nuts. And it was playing in my head like a movie. And when you get that going on, it's like, man, this is awesome. I guess I kind of help out by jumping around a little bit, huh? kind of give you the movie feel. Oh, anyway. Kathy, you pray for us.